Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Your Impact Attack. Yes, it is Your Impact Attack here on channelattitude.com. It's the free view. It's the free for view. And I am Colin Wysong, and we are here each and every week with, I'm not going to do it like Ray, a Rip Rogers guy.
You just did it like Ray. You just did it. You just did it like Ray. Do you have any wrestling legends to ambush me with this week?
No, none whatsoever. Let me hang on one second. Eric, I gotta let you go. Sorry, I had to let Eric Bischoff go.
Damn.
Yep, and the third man in the
you
booth.
You fucker mother.
You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, Vet. Our third man in the booth, ladies and gentlemen. Too much rice. Got a carbo load. You don't want a carbo load like Zicky Dice. But you want to be like our man here, Brandon. Carbo load on some rice. Yeah.
Man, Zicky blew it tonight.
Yes, he did. Big time.
Well, what have we been saying, guys? More with Zicky Dice. Why is he just sitting here doing nothing? And all of a sudden he gets a world title match against the one and only Savior? Don't tell me they're not listening.
They're totally listening. We've got Zicky Dice against Moose. He's the mystery opponent here on the free for view portion at channelattitude.com.
Spoiler alert.
And live on the YouTube at Hameen Media Group. Check us out each and every week. We go live anywhere between 12 and 1 a.m. Tuesday morning, and it is Monday sometimes for the Vet. Vet, what's it like in the past?
Man, it's dark, it's cold, it's lonely.
Nothing's happened here in the future.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it has, but I'll be there with you guys shortly.
Okay.
3 hours. Or as I like to call it, a short Big Ray podcast. So,
It's fun.
And we got some of our regulars, showing up. You got Buckshot Kid always, right? Like you just know if there's an Impact Attack, there's a Buckshot Kid. He's right there. Lizbeth has been joining us with her insomnia in full effect recently. Hobby's always here. Sonic is here. So we got a good core group to start, and I'm sure more people will trickle in.
More people will trickle in as the show goes on. Yes. Mm-hmm. Vet, did you do anything this week?
No, I just sat here from last week waiting for the new Impact Attack to record.
Wow.
I did not move.
I did not breathe. That's a lie. You did NXT.
I know, but it's in the same place, so I just sat here.
I just moved. And
I broadcast from the same location, so as soon as I'm scheduled or not, I just turn the computer on. Next level, turn it on. Light the fuse, turn it on. Impact Attack, turn it on. What are the Smack Attack guys doing? Did they invite me or not? Turn it on. Just check in with those guys.
No, we weren't invited. We were in the chat for the Smack Attack this past weekend.
Although James did say he thought about inviting me. I think he always thinks about it. I think he wants to add me as a 3-man booth for the Smack Attack, right? As flattering as it is, I told those guys, all kidding aside, like I told those guys, like, look, I do enjoy talking wrestling with all you guys, even if it's wrestling I hate. I do enjoy hanging out. I do enjoy being a part of HMG. I will enjoy sweeping the hammies and all that stuff. But I like that every show has its own identity. James and John, they've got their own thing and it works and I like it. And I don't mind popping in every once in a while, but I don't want to just oversaturate HMG and kind of take it over. The only person that should, the guy with the name on the door, that's the important guy. And I like to fill in for people. But I want everybody to have their own identity. So even though I enjoy being on the shows, I want each show to feel like different, even the ones that I am on. I don't want to. I really don't want to like make this like the Vet Media Group. I really don't. But
No, it's Huber Media Group to some people.
well, I mean, teach their own, I suppose.
Yes, that is true. Let's see. It's the free for view. So I feel like we should give people a little taste of what we had here at Impact Wrestling. So I think we can probably go on ahead and spoil the Ring of Honor invasion that happened. Let's talk about commentary because I drove home and I listened to the show I put it on like the show and I listened to it over the radio. So it's like listening to a football game. So
Impact Wrestling podcast.
Tommy Styles had to go it alone after his partner D'Lo Brown was taken out viciously by the Ring of Honor version of NWO, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett,
PCO,
Vinny Marcellia, PCO, and Maria Kanellis Bennett, and PCO flips off the table, and the tables are working from Japan this week. Vet, working stiff. Doesn't break the first time, breaks the second time as they jump all over
Right.
D'Lo.
Now this is not two 90-pound women trying to do this break the table spot. This is fucking PCO and D'Lo Brown, who is grossly overweight. He's back to his Nation of Domination, getting Pro River Plunge on top of a car. Oh wait.
I just want to answer Buckshot Kid's question. I have not had a chance to watch that yet, unfortunately.
Watch what, Brandon?
Brandon, did you watch Zicky Dice Outlandish Paradise Wrestling Show?
I have not had a chance to yet, unfortunately.
Yes, and follow-up question: what the hell is that? Anyway, while we wait for
That is true, Buckshot Kid. Why no security? There was no.
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a very good question.
No guards, more guards came out. More refs came out to come and check on D'Lo and chase those guys away from the ring. Then later on, we get another invasion angle as after Deonna Prazo takes on Roxy. We won't spoil it here. You'll have to listen on Channel Attitude to get the full review of that match. Maria Kanellis comes out and the Ring of Honor invasion beats up Matthew Raywalt, who was ringside assisting Tom New Name, as Matt Taven was calling him. That's pretty funny.
I'll give it up. That's not bad.
That's pretty funny. Tommy New Name, or I was calling him Tommy Styles because he had to go it alone this week on Impact with a little bit of help from fellow wrestlers that came and helped out. But Vet, let's go to you. What are your thoughts first on the Ring of Honor invasion angle that we have going on here at Impact?
Well, we love invasion angles, don't we? It's one of the only two storylines that anybody knows how to do anymore. Excuse me. Let me correct that. The only two storylines that people try to do anymore. It's really, if you break it down, there's only two things that they even try, and that is invasion angle or authority figure versus some rebellious main eventer. Those are the only two storylines people have. Usually, the latter is associated with the WWE, and the invasions are associated with every other company ever. Usually Eric Bischoff. It's like they're just recycling their most successful ideas. Eric Bischoff did this NWO thing, and he's been trying to recreate it ever since. Not that he's doing it here, but he did do it in Impact before with Aces and Eights, if everybody remembers. And they've tried the authority figure thing after Stone Cold Steve Austin. They've done that, with various wrestlers with varying degrees of success. So they're always trying to recapture their past glory, and it's kind of sad, and it kind of shows you where wrestling is, where it's just the same old stuff, and they're trying to repackage it to you, but they're being way more obvious about it than they should be. I'd really like to see people, if they're going to revisit these things, I'd like to see them do a little something slightly different than has been done in the past. Instead of just wrestlers showing up, beating up other wrestlers, and the announcer saying, "What's he doing here? What are they doing here?" I'm so sick of that, and it's embarrassing. It's not going to get people interested. No one believes it. It's just the same lazy recycled stuff. Brandon, wouldn't you agree?
To a degree. I mean, they're actually kind of following the same script as the NWO, and they're trying to questioning, like the parent company of ROH, Sinclair, when they're talking about Baltimore, and they're denying it. Well, that could just be a Bischoff swerve where he was denying everything and turned out, oh, he was with them the whole time.
Yeah. So I do like that wrinkle, that the Ring of Honor is separate within the company, because why would everybody in an entire company that spends their entire existence fighting each other and creating drama amongst each other, why would they all of a sudden all be friends and just come into this other wrestling company, right? So I like the wrinkle of are they or aren't they? They're using Jonathan Gresham here as a sort of like a focal point of, but we'll talk about that later too. But so yeah, I that's the part I do like, that they're doing a little bit different. But even that still has been done before, like you said.
Yeah, not some bad stuff there. The Matthew Raywald stuff towards the end there. Vinny Marseglia's out there with no shoes on.
He's not the only one tonight.
Looking like Ring of Honor. Looking like a Ring of Honor Bray Wyatt. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do and where they go with this angle, and who will overcome, because they did also have some backstage stuff as Eddie Edwards got beat up. Eddie Edwards is never alone. Just remember that, guys. He's always got Kenny. He's never alone, and not Kenny Omega, Kenny the kendo stick, and Willie Mack and Rich Swann get involved. And then even the VBD and the Good Brothers, they get their licks in as well. A little foreshadowing there. If you want to find out more, make sure you head on over to channelattitude.com. Check out the rest of the show. This has been, I'm assuming, the free for view here. They might cut it off. They might edit it here. It usually goes for about 15 minutes.
Right.
But you have anything else you want to add? Did you watch the UFC this weekend?
I did not, but I saw you tweeting about it. So if you'd like to share your opinions on that, then I, as a resident opinion haver, will sit back and listen
and
for a
soak in
change.
an opinion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Calvin Keator versus Giga Chikadze, and Giga's kind of this kickboxer guy who's very, very dynamic striker, a great striker, some might say. But Calvin Keator's a tough dude. Went 5 rounds where Max Holloway was just beating the crap out of him. I think you saw that fight too as well, right?
No.
Good. You should go back and check that. Calvin Keator versus Max Holloway. Max Holloway just beats the crap out of Calvin Keator for like 5 rounds. Basically what Calvin Keator did to Giga Chikadze in this. But Chikadze started the first round coming out really nice. Probably could have gotten a finish had he not slipped. And then he sat on top of him pretty much the rest of the round, Keator did. And then from there on out, you could tell he was tired. He was blocking with his face. He was leaving his hands down. He looked way worse after the fight than Keator did. And it's definitely a good fight to go check out. Exciting. One of those wars where you're kind of wondering how this dude's still standing up at the end of the fight, but they're still just going at it.
Was this on a fight night or?
Yeah, this was a UFC Vegas Fight Night 45, 46, something like that.
All right. Yeah, I don't recall seeing that match with Holloway before. I might have, but I don't think so. So it was this so this was a real one? This wasn't a
yeah, this was
fight?
a real one. It wasn't work.
Okay.
They didn't go and get makeup done. Nobody was gigging themselves.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the next big UFC coming out? Is
Francis
it
Ngannou versus Cyril Gane for the heavyweight championship.
So is that this week?
Bout. I believe I can look it up. You vamp.
Well,
you would vamp about your excitement of this fight, Vet.
Well, I'm a little bit excited because this will expose this fraudulent Cyril Gane guy that just came out of nowhere, and they're acting like he can fight. I fully would expect Ngannou to kill this guy.
January 22nd.
22nd. So
This
yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, this will, like, assuming that this is all real, I believe Ngannou will take this guy's head off inside the first round, but that's very dependent on how big they want to push the kid, the Gon kid. What do you think?
Oh, I think he's got it. He's got the it's your classic striker, like really good, talented striker against a guy who has pure punching power. It's kind of like a Deontay Wilder versus a Tyson Fury, which you think is also a fixed fight.
Third one was a work for sure,
Yeah,
100%.
Let's see. So you've got the power puncher. He's got that one punch. Like all it takes, the way Ngannou's just crushed dudes. All it takes is that one punch. But these guys used to practice together. They used to train together. There's fight video that came out where you can tell that Gon is getting his punches in, right? Because he's a striker. He knows how to strike. He knows how to feint and bring guys in. But there's also a couple times where Ngannou's getting those rep punches and strikes in, right? Where he's not going full force on those punches, right? And he's connected on some sneaky stuff that Gon wouldn't necessarily see. Those are the ones that put you out. So now imagine Ngannou hitting you 100% with the Ngannou force that he has compared to what Gon is hitting a guys with. Now, Gon finished Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis gave Ngannou one of his toughest fights, in a sense. So there's that.
In a sense that neither one of them touch each other. I suppose you're talking about the rematch, though.
Yeah. But they, this could be a fun little fight. I mean, we could see Cyril Gane just get blasted in 30 seconds, in the first round or whatever. Or we could see Gane really piece Ngannou apart with, fancy footwork, staying back, staying out of the punches and all that type of stuff.
Well, again, assuming this is all real and not a setup for some reason, for some marketability reason, which I don't know why anybody would think that Ngannou is less marketable. But if this were real, Ngannou will kill this man. He would literally kill him with a punch or several punches because he doesn't have anything to worry about. You can throw all the little strikes and stuff that you want as a competent striker. There's no power behind any of them. Like this guy's kicks and punches couldn't break an egg, so Ngannou doesn't have to worry about anything. He can just walk right up to him and, throw like the biggest shots that he can throw without, worry of retribution from Cyril Gane. That's my take on it.
Yeah, Brandon,
I feel like Gane is like a point fighter.
He is.
This is soft ass point karate. Like this is what would you call it? This is the finale of Cobra Kai here. Like you just get points for contact, right? I don't think Ngannou's going to sit there and let him get points for contact for 5 whole rounds. His roundhouse would feel like most other people's light jabs. So just walk in and kill him. That's my advice.
Yeah, I'm
you
sure
don't get paid by the hour.
I'm sure that's what's going to happen. Brandon, do you have any opinion on this? Too much rice.
I need to start watching UFC.
Yeah, it's very entertaining.
Even if just for the openings of Impact Attacks, it's nice to just catch up on a little UFC.
Watch a few fights. I'm sure you can find some out there. I'm sure there's some sites that you can go to be able to find content if you want to watch certain fights and things like that.
Yeah, and even so, fight nights are free, right?
Well, Spaceman, you're never late. You're always here in our hearts, on time for the show. Oh, and he's drunk.
Nice.
I can completely understand what he's saying. I read Drunk Canada Spaceman.
Mm-hmm.
Right there for you.
I just assume he's always, like the Hulk is always angry.
Yeah, he's always drunk. I mean, I would be too. He's stuck in Canada, bro. It's not the best. It's not the best in Canada right now.
It's not the best anywhere right now. Let's be frank about
Canada
it.
Canada Spaceman.
Not Frank's pickle barrel ass, but
make sure you vote Colin Weissong in the Hammies for Producing and Tyler of the Year 2022 Hammy Awards. Don't vote Vet. Don't vote for Big Ray.
Don't
do
vote
that.
Vet.
Don't vote.
That's
Vet.
weird.
Anyway,
Vet. Elizabeth says it was playoff weekend, and she's referring to the National Football League. Do you got anything?
Yeah, I watched
49ers,
football,
49ers won.
Yeah, 49ers won.
So
Dallas
I'm in.
lost. Tonight, Arizona got blown out by the
They
Rams.
got exposed as fraudulent, like I kind of knew they were. So that's nice.
Big Ben got beat. He's now heading off into retirement.
Unless he doesn't. Unless he changes his mind at the last minute. He could do a whole Brett Favre thing where he's like tries to retire for 5 years.
Old Tom Brady showed up. And then
which is ironically the young Tom Brady.
Young Tom Brady. So I don't know. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers take the Green Bay Packers all the way to the promised land here. But
well, that would mean they'd have to go through us. And I don't think that's going to happen. You saw what happened to him last time. The Packers cannot beat San Francisco. They have not beat San Francisco in a long time.
If San Francisco's got to go and play in Green Bay in this weather, in this wintry hellhole that we're in right now,
don't mean nothing.
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be Jimmy Fumbleopolo.
Nah, he's got it. He's going to show up. Watch. Well, the last time they played, he just handed the ball off 50 times. Like he didn't even pass, and they crushed the Packers. So
he's going to have to. He's going to have to. Was that the first game of the season? What game was it that they played? Because he played terrible. Rodgers had a couple terrible games the first couple games of the season. I know that first game he dropped the ball really bad.
Yeah, he's pretty good now, as usual. But okay, all right, okay.
Look, Canada Spaceman hitting on Brandon in the chat while he's drunk. There you go. I wish we had bits that you could cheer on Twitch, but we don't. We don't even have a super chat. I can't get you to post a super chat.
Would not be the first time I've been hit on by drunk dudes.
It won't be the last. It will not be the last. Here on your Impact Attack.
Well, hey, Colin, if you want to get super chats on this channel, you're gonna. Well, first of all, we have to be monetized again, which I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. Nope. And two, you gotta produce more viewers for us. As that's what you gotta do. You gotta have a certain amount of viewers and be open a certain amount of time. I think we've certainly got the time in. Now we just need the viewers and the subs.
This is what I need. I need all of you right now, the 6 viewers that we have in the chat, 2 of which I know are Brandon and the Vet. Go right now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We should have done this in the free for view portion of the show. Hit that notification bell, and you got to go in and actually set it to let it know, like, hey, when we go live, you get those notifications here, the Hameen Media Group YouTube channel, and Channel Attitude, and over at Podbean. I don't know. We're on. I guess we're on the free for view on Podbean, so we're over there on Podbean too. The affiliate channel.
Yeah, whatever it is. Do all that stuff, and then get 10,000 friends each to subscribe, and then we'll be ready to go. Well, not in the last playoff meeting, that's for damn sure. Elizabeth with the truth. The Bengals suck.
The Bengals do suck, but they
won. They actually, she's mad because she's a Cleveland Browns fan. So you have to understand that's the Ohio Civil War over there.
They got Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
I like Nick Chubb. He's a fantasy beast. And we're gonna get into this Impact episode because we've got a fantasy beast on our end. I think you know who that man is. Soak it in, Vet. Soak it in. Everyone else soak it in as well. It's Moose. And we start the show with Tom New Name, Tom Hannafin, D'Lo Brown opening the show, and Morrissey. Morrissey's on a rampage. On a rampage.
Yeah, they played a recap from Hard to Kill.
Really good.
And they kind of like they repositioned made it seem like the title match for the 3-way title match was the main event because they showed the highlights of that last so that it could lead into Morrissey here, which right when they start, it's like he's coming in from outside, walking through the door, grabbing guys looking for Moose. Like, where's Moose? You know, it seems very aggressive, and it was good that they had a camera pointed at that entranceway to start with. I guess that was fortuitous.
Very WWE.
Right. But not WWE, because it looked handheld and gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, you know, it's just a little convenient. But what are you going to do? That's a nitpick. It's better to do that than just the same old shit. But the question is, he comes in grabbing guys, and then then he goes straight into his entrance. From there, like you show him walking up to the curtain, then they go out to the arena and show him make the entrance, the full entrance with the music, and he does his little W pose, hand signals and stuff on the way down. So he's not that mad. He's also had a week to cool off about this whole thing, right? So, here's the thing: like, should that have been sort of like an earlier today? Should we have got the little earlier today graphic in the corner saying he showed up here, and then after this he's been, you know, marching around like looking for Moose and all this stuff, and then now it's showtime, so he comes out? Is that what they should have done, or did they make it seem like he just showed up to the building? If he just grabbed that guy and went for his entrance, he obviously didn't have time to even look for Moose, so that doesn't even make sense. Like, he just... So, I don't know. It was a little bit... It left me with some questions here, but I kind of do like the hot start. What do you guys think?
That's pretty much what I had. You know, your nice hot open with him just barging in. You know, get right to business, playing right off the finish of that match, or how the match went down, and just kicking it off. You know, main story.
Yeah, I agree. I like the way that he came in, and Vet, I saw that as I was watching. He came out and was doing the hand signals. Now, if he's supposed to be a heel, and you're coming out to kick someone's ass because you're mad, are you going to come out and do the hand signals? I hear you in my head when I saw that part. I'm just like, no, you coming out to kick someone's ass. You're not out there like, yeah.
I think this was a babyface turn for him, or at least for this program.
Yeah, I guess
because like with the crowd, there was a total babyface promo. Crowd reacted accordingly, and he just rolled right with it.
All right. Well, I hope they don't turn him. I've been thinking about this recently, just across like as an edict, if wrestling could all be sort of unionized, as like each little promotion is their own little sanctioned body under one umbrella, I was the president of all of it, I would have an edict saying, all right, there's a moratorium on turns. Nobody's allowed to turn for like 2 years until you figure out who the fuck your characters are. Because I'm tired of you just saying, oh yeah, this is a babyface just because we want to put him against this guy. No. You have to be who you are. And if the crowd wants to like it, then they can like it or whatever. But essentially, you're going to be this character. You're not going to change. Morrissey, as long as he doesn't change, it doesn't really matter if he's a babyface, as long as he doesn't do anything that contradicts anything he said. And they've been doing nothing but him saying how nobody is a fan of his and nobody had his back and all this other stuff since he got there. So he's not going to all of a sudden just become, you know, the fans' favorite. He's still going to stick it to the fans' face, but you're just going to have a heel program with him and Moose. That's my guess. So he but you're right, Colin, like I was saying, he's not that mad. He's not too mad to do his gimmicks, right? But even though it's been like a week or whatever, he's mad enough. Even though he just lost the match, like there wasn't like a screw job really. It's a triple threat match. Anything goes. I don't really see like what he would be that mad about, that he'd still be fuming about it days later. But that, again, these are nitpicks. And to your point about why would there be a disconnect between the behaviors? And that's because one thing's a pre-tape and the other thing's the show, right? So even though it's all taped, like he probably did that, you know, barging in and grabbing guys up and asking where's Moose earlier, and then that's taped and set aside, and then they do this. So that's why he probably forgot, like, oh yeah, I shouldn't be doing that.
That's where the more should have been like, okay, here's where you left off, here's where you just saw, pick up from there, let's go.
Right. Assuming he's even in charge of that and not just an on-screen character at this point. Who knows what Scott D'Amore does. But yeah, so Morrissey goes out to the ring and calls out Moose, but he doesn't get actual Moose. He gets video wall Moose. and he tells him that there will be a title match tonight, but Morrissey won't be in it. So there's your little cliffhanger. Who's it gonna be? Who's the mystery opponent for Moose?
Vet, before we get to that, I am glad that you brought up the package to start the show, because as I was listening to it as I was driving, having Tom being from the WWE and knowing the type of matches that he's called, and he's called some like big time matches, being I guess in NXT and on the main roster, so to speak. The package with his voice had such a different feel to it. Like it had that big fight feel, that big package feel, not having Matt Stryker on it, but having
Big
a guy
package feel. What does that feel like, Colin? Big
Ray
package?
would
Fighting
know.
deep.
Big Ray would know what that big package feels like.
Oh, okay.
And you know, Tom might even know. You know, he's forced it in some faces before, as we know from the airplane selfie that he sent some lady and was having a conversation with.
Oops.
Tom, new name. But yeah, like I said, just a different feel to the packages because of his voice and what he brings to the table, and it has a little bit of professionalism going on with everything. Like it brings some gravitas. It's like having Goldberg in Bellator, right? Like you're used to Jimmy Smith, but he's not quite Goldberg, you know, right? Like Jimmy Smith is good. I love Jimmy Smith on Raw. I think Jimmy Smith on Raw has been doing a great job. He's fantastic. You know, he's not quite Pat McAfee, who gave a shout out to Ben and those guys over at the Friday locker room with Russo and that for putting over Pat McAfee, which was pretty cool. But it's interesting to hear Tom and what he brings, because I feel like it's a higher caliber. It's like the S tier. He's like A and S tier caliber guy on the mic, and I wouldn't have ever thought about that.
Well, let's not go that far, buddy. But I do see what you are saying, because what we've had is Josh Matthews, who's the worst ever at it, and then you've also had Matt Stryker, who is like very smug and like winking at the audience the entire time, which I've called him out on multiple occasions. You can go back on Channel Attitude, listen to all of those call outs that I made on there. And that's coming from a guy who likes Stryker, as a fan of Stryker and what Stryker can do. But sometimes it's not about what a guy can do, it's about what he does do. So I know what Matt Stryker's capable of, but he is just a little too comfortable sometimes, and who knows what part that played in him not being there anymore, if any. But Tom Phillips is going to be like a little bit more of a straight man, partially because that's what was sort of drilled into him as one of many Ken dolls that worked at the WWE. And partially because I don't know that he has the personality to be the other stuff. You could see him having to, we'll talk about it in a moment.
We saw a little bit of that. We saw a little bit of his personality come out tonight. And that's why I say something about
such
him in
as
this
it is.
episode. Because you could tell he went off script. Like you can tell how the WWE's produced and how he was trying to be lively and off script with his new partners that he had join him after what we talked about at the Free For View. D'Lo getting taken out and him losing basically his broadcast partner and becoming Tommy Styles, and basically calling the show by himself for the most part, except for when the matches came about.
Well, as someone that's heard countless hours of Tom Phillips, I can tell you that it's really
Who's Tom Phillips?
Well, he was back then during the countless hours. I can count the hours I've heard him here. It's about 5. But previous to that, the Tom Phillips character, countless hours of that I've heard. This is all just the same old stuff. He would be on shows that nobody would pay attention to, and he would try to get his personality in there. You know what I mean? Like he was over in NXT UK, and he knew nobody was watching that, so he would go along with Nigel McGuinness and whatever they would get into, and it just was the same sort of flavorless. You know, he tries. He's just a Melvin, as we all know. You know, according to Matt Taven, But yeah, so anyway, next up in the script, D'Amore tells Morrissey not to interfere in that title match. Okay, and then he gets word on his headsets, which he's wearing conveniently. 9 times out of 10, Brandon, he would not get this message, right? That's what we'd be seeing. And so, like, 9 times out of 10, he wouldn't hear this, but here he luckily had his headset on so that he could get word that, yes, someone is in the building, and yes, they're in the building right now, and we've got to cut to this, and that's when we get the takeover. Right?
I think Scott Moore ran and hid because I thought he was gonna like come out and face them and like yell at them, be like, "What are you doing here?" And more like, "What are you guys doing here? You guys, what? I can't believe." No, it's like the rest came out, and Scott D'Amore was nowhere to be found for pretty much the rest of the show. He was just gone.
Right. So the invasion. I don't know what should we call them.
Wow, wow.
What should we call these guys? Because it's OGK, but it's not just them. It's also PCO for some reason. So
I would say New World of Honor, but Bello used that for the Undisputed Era in NXT for next level.
Well, we can come back around to that at some point. We'll just call them
Matt Brat's here as well as Jay Hall.
The Ring of Honor guys. Hello to Jerome with an N and Labrat.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah. For life.
Smallest icons in wrestling. That's
Which one of those guys do you think is the Scott Hall? Which one's the Kevin Nash? Which one's the Hogan?
I would say Taven probably the Hall.
Taven the Hall?
Taven's probably the Hogan.
He's probably the Hogan.
Yeah, he's the Hogan. Bennett's totally the Hall.
Oh yeah,
Bennett's
right.
totally
You're
the
right.
Hall. Yeah. Nash is
PCO.
PCO.
I guess.
He's definitely not Bray Wyatt.
No. Yeah, so anyway, they come over and they take over the announce position, and Matt Taven's making every D-Lo reference possible. Like he's out there saying like, "You're not a Europe anymore," and
Your chest pad.
Yeah, should have wore his chest protector. Well, they're putting him on the table. He's like, "You're looking at the real deal now." So Taven clearly done his homework on 90s WWF programming. We all can respect that. So they put D'Lo through a table. Eventually, they put him through a table, and then this group of 5 thugs. Which one's a Virgil? I don't know. I feel like it's also PCO somehow. Not
Maria?
really. It's Maria's the Elizabeth.
That's true, yeah.
Or
the April Hunter.
Or the $1 Million Man.
April Hunter, the original NWO girl before Miss Elizabeth.
Hey.
Came in with Rick
Shout outs to
Steiner.
NWO girls. But yeah, so eventually they put Dio through the table. But then after that, this invading force that's just running rampant all over Impact, and their set and their show and everything gets chased off by like 3 referees.
Yeah, no guards, more guards.
They took a
refs.
powder on 3 refs.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So right there, that's something I would be addressing in the production meeting. Maria is the Rick Rude, says Buckshot Kid. I'm not going to argue with that. So yeah, that'd be my first note as I'm looking over the formats or whatever in the production meeting. Like, okay, so 3 referees come out and these guys run. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. That's not an invasion. That's just guys showing up and
their beef is not with referees.
Right. Especially if we're going to see security at some point. Like, we don't know at this point if they're going to show up later in the show or whatever, but we can look at the past episodes, and sometimes they send out, Colin, get your finger on the button. Sometimes they send out
Guards, more guards.
Yeah, and then other times nothing. So we know they're wildly inconsistent with their security detail. I guess there weren't enough indie wrestlers in the Dallas Fort Worth area for there to be any security here. So maybe that's why.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. I think it's just lazy writing. But yeah, so that was our like little hook for the show. Like, in case you were thinking about turning Impact off, which I don't know why you would if you ever turned it on in the first place, but that's our hook. So Brandon, what do you think? Did it work? Did it hook you? I think I'm going to guess it did.
I mean, I'm liking it. I mean, definitely there's some stuff they can work on and clean up and some holes to fill, but as a whole, I think it's doing its job and doing a decent one.
All right.
Was that a Red Bull? Oh, it's are you you're banging and you didn't tell anyone?
Bang!
Vet's over
That's
here
right.
banging on air, not telling.
You started
anybody.
this, Colin. You started
did.
this.
I did.
Now I drink one every day.
I used to bang on air all the time.
Yeah,
We could have been Bang Bros, Vet.
that's right. On the Bang Bus. Right.
On
But-
the Impact Attack Bang Bus.
Yeah, but anyway, this bus rolls on. I just want to let you guys know that Impact is presented by a new movie. It's not that one from that scary movie from last time, whatever it was called. This is a new movie called The King's Daughter, which is a interesting title. I guess every variation on princess has already been used in some form or whatever. But yeah, we got Princess Diaries and Princess,
Hey, Vet,
stuff.
instead of talking about this stupid movie,
Well, we're not.
Rate my shirt.
What's that? Well, your camera has everything backwards, so let's say Hacker Hameen,
Yeah, it's a Wu-Tang shirt.
or is it? We don't want
Is
to
it?
get sued. Nice Hacker Hameen shirt. So you can get that. Where can you get that, Colin?
At prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hameen.
You know what else you can get at prowrestlingtees.com, and I suggest everybody do.
Don't go. Well, yeah, you actually do go, because that man needs more ones to spend at the strip club. So definitely go to prowrestlingtees.com / I'm assuming it's Hook.
You can't see that?
Send Hook, ladies and gentlemen. Send Hook more dollar bills so he
This-
can go to the strip club and put them in women's thongs.
The debut
That
of the
guy.
Send Hook shirt on HMG. He's gonna make an appearance on lots of shows. This is the first chance that I've had. This showed up one day late after Light the Fuse. I really wanted it to show up in time for that, but
And
Hook
speaking of-
fashionably late as usual. Can't hate him though. He's so adorable.
Send
Speak-
Veer.
Speaking of bills and thongs, I wonder how many 20s have been in thongs that have ended up in birthday cards.
Ooh. Yep,
That-
because I'm
you know
sure there's
that
a lot of
20
grandmas at the strip club.
That 20 grandma
sure.
gave me sure did smell funny.
There's a lot of 36-year-old grandmas at the strip club. Don't kid yourselves.
Bet, get a
Hey,
Hook
it's 2022. It's
wig. They need to sell Hook wigs. AEW, if you're listening, Tony Khan, if you're still listening and messing around with Impact, or Nick Khan, make Hook wigs and sell them at WWEshop.com.
It's impossible to fully recreate that coif that he has. So I understand. But yeah. So anyways, yeah. So this movie is all over, even the aprons and turnbuckles. They're serious about this. Like, it's printed. The King's Daughter. It better make $1 billion. It better overtake Endgame or whatever.
Impact made their money, so it's all good.
That's right. They did their part. Yeah, Rok-C package. We get a Rok-C package hyping up Rok-C, who will be in the main event tonight. She is the Ring of Honor Women's Champion at this current time of airing of this package. And I have not seen Rok-C before in any form or fashion. This is the first time I even got a good look at what she looks like face-wise. I couldn't have picked her out of a lineup before, but now I've been hearing things, and so here's our first look, a quick little package to introduce Rok-C. So good to do that for people like me, who, even though I know almost everybody, they're still bringing in new people behind my back all the time. So I'm sure that if I don't know who this is, a ton of people don't know who she is. And so thumbs up there. And you guys, did this package work? Did it get you excited for the main event?
I mean, it means a nice intro to her. It told us, just showed us just a little bit of her moves, a little bit about her. All we needed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just enough. I knew she was Ring of Honor, but now I know a little bit more about her.
Okay.
And being the Impact guy that I am now, I'm still gonna have to pull for Deanna.
Oh,
As you're driving, did this package sound like it was doing a good job of? Okay.
She's from Houston.
Oh yeah, of course, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Next is Chris Bay versus Laredo Kid 2, the sequel to their match from a while ago.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yep, Trey Miguel's out for commentary here, so this is where you get. He's making fun of Chris Bay for having small calves. I believe the phrase he used was. What is it? Egg on a golf tee.
Yeah,
egg on a golf tee is what he called him. I don't know if that's an accurate description for Chris Bay. Saying his upper body is shaped like an egg. But still. So this is so Trey Miguel's out here, and this is somewhat taxing on Tom's improv abilities, but he manages to make a Kill Bill reference, so it's only like 20 years too late, but he makes a Kill Bill Volume 2 reference and says such classic things as "you got jokes" and some stuff like that. So we get a full range of Tom's personality here in this spot here on commentary. As for the match, I liked it better than their first match, than the classic Bay Laredo 1, which is now known as, since there's a 2. I thought this was more, it was a little bit more focused on hard hitting, even though they still did their flip stuff. It wasn't as synchronized swimming as before. And they also had the little kind of story of Chris Bay continually eyeing Trey Miguel, which ultimately ended up costing him as Laredo Kid goes over with the Spanish fly off the top. Usually never beats anybody. Tonight it did. Thoughts on this? Too much rice?
It was a visually impressive finish, but it looked like, as far as impactful and putting away a guy, I felt like it should have went something compared to the other stuff in the match. It felt like it should have been a different finish compared to with the stuff we had seen earlier. Like, with even the setup to the Spanish fly looked more devastating than the Spanish fly.
So a top rope Spanish fly, not good enough for a finish anymore these days. This is the state of wrestling, guys.
I mean, I felt that the kick to the head, when he's on the top rope, that should have knocked him out.
Well, shouldn't have, but didn't it? And I don't know how much of this match you caught during the stoplights.
It was all commentary, so I didn't get to see any of it. But
But you felt like you did?
This is where no, not even because I had to listen to commentary the whole entire time. But this is seriously, anyone at home that is listening to this, and you're paying for channelattitude.com, so I'm assuming you're a pretty hardcore wrestling fan and or into Hameen Media Group. Watch a wrestling show like you would like radio, and you really pay attention to commentary because, as you said, Vet, you're watching the action, so you don't really get to kind of hear their back and forth kind of thing. There were plenty of times where Trey Miguel could have gone on Big Ray tangents, and you saw him and Tom having to kind of reel it back in to get back focusing on the match, because they could have sat there and played buddy cut up and got to know each other out there, because they were doing that a little bit. They were starting to he would make a little pop culture reference, and then Trey Miguel would want to go in more about a reference about him to try to put himself over, but more about that pop culture reference, and there was still that buddy stuff there, and you could see Tom still trying to get the action over while Trey Miguel was also still trying to kind of put the action over, but also put himself over. Now, with Laredo Kid going over here, I don't know why they put so much emphasis on Bay and Miguel button heads the whole entire time, because there was a lot of him going after Chris Bay on commentary with his commentary compared to him going after Laredo Kid, which they did kind of clear that up towards the end of the match with him putting over Laredo Kid when Laredo Kid did win. Now, Vet, my question for you and Brandon, you might have wrestled people wearing masks. Do you think the horns hurt?
I'm sure
I've
they
never
can.
I've never had an issue with horns. I've actually wrestled people with horns on their masks. Never had an issue with it.
Now let me ask you this as well. Hasn't Trey Miguel wrestled Laredo Kid before?
Sure.
I have to
So you
imagine
would
so,
think
yeah.
that he would know if the horns on Laredo Kid's mask hurt or not.
You would think. Well,
Right.
he's high. He probably forgot.
Oh, he did mention the Rascals.
Yeah.
So
So
that's probably why. That's probably you're right. You're right.
yeah. So anyway, I guess to address what you brought up, the obvious choice would be you have a third match in a trilogy that Bay wins. 'Cause now they're one apiece. So that's why by doing this, they're sort of tipping their hand at where they want to go. So Bay can now be even more incensed that he lost this match as a result, and then he can say, "I heard what you were saying about me out there. I heard what you were saying about my calves or whatever." And then now that gets a little more interest, and then if he beats Laredo Kid in a number one contenders match or whatever they do, then you've already got the built-in thing. So that's a little bit of foreshadowing here that they're doing. Unless they're going to swerve us, that's probably what they're going to do.
Well, I thought throughout the whole show too, with all the guest commentary, that somebody was going to run in and attack somebody and do something crazy like that. But with the invasion angle all night, they were the runs doing the run-ins and attacking everyone. So I got disappointed because there were a couple times too where you had people out there on commentary. You're like, oh man, this person's gonna possibly run in,
Right.
especially with Ace and Madman
No.
with the match they
Yeah.
commentated on.
And
I
that's
felt
the
like
difference.
they could have
Yeah.
run in on those two guys.
That's the difference between AEW, who just has people run in. Every match has an afterbirth, as Jim Cornette says. Like, everything is just an angle all the time, and it doesn't matter what's going on or how many times they've done it in the show. If you listen to the Light the Fuse episode, we talk about how they had the match with Wardlow versus CM Punk, where it's like a giant guy beating the shit out of a smaller guy for an uncomfortably long period of time, and then the small guy slips over. And then right after that, the very next segment, very next match is Will Hobbs versus Dante Martin, where it's a giant guy beating the shit out of a smaller guy for an uncomfortably long period of time, and the smaller guy slips over. So they have no clue about their formatting. Impact here at least shows they're protecting the invasion angle by not having every single match have interference or stuff, even when it obviously could. So that's a good point that you brought up there. And that's how you do it. So more points for Impact. It's almost like they have a podcast out there that they can just draw inspiration from and correct slowly their mistakes over time. But I don't know what podcast that would be. Team Fat is distressed over this ROH invasion right here. Like they're very upset. So they're gonna do what anybody in any great horror movie would do. They're gonna split up so they can cover more ground. And they're going to take them out.
Hey man, I don't think we should split up here, guys. Surprised he
Shut
didn't
up,
come out and
Heath.
say that. Yeah. Hey man, I got kids, guys. We shouldn't split up here, guys.
We shouldn't go alone. And that's when we find out that
I'm taking
Eddie
Rhino with me.
Yeah, Eddie is never alone. He's always got a sandwich in his back pocket. Oh, also Kenny, but mostly other food hidden throughout the arena and on his person at all times. So he's never really alone. And they go split up. Any comments on this, anyone?
This was I knew this was going to lead to something fun and interesting throughout the whole show. Like I feel like with
well,
this
you didn't know that. You didn't know it was going to be fun and interesting. You
I
just
feel
knew it was
like
going to
with
lead to
this-
something.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like once they set the tone for these guys going and looking for them, I thought that they were going to set a further tone of other people looking for them, because then they later on in the show they cut to VBD and the Good Brothers, and I thought they were going to go start looking for help, like we've got this invasion that we need to take care of and things like that, and they were going to start looking for them, but they just talked about their business agreement, which we'll get
Right.
to.
The selfishness of heels. Yeah. So speaking of selfish heels, How to Be a Professional, episode 71, the comeback. So Zicky at this point, he claims that he is Moose's opponent for the heavyweight championship match, and VSK and Myers are a little incredulous at this, Like they're like, what, you know? And so in order to prepare, Zicky has ordered a pizza from Serious Pizza, because the carb load is how he prepares for all his matches.
Giant pizza.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got this a little product placement too, just for, like a little King's Daughter, a little Serious Pizza. Myers is sort of unimpressed with all this, but he reaches in the box and takes a slice of pizza that's about the size of a shower curtain and walks off. And that's what we're left with tonight. So we're taking Zicky at his word that, A, he's going to eat all that pizza, and B, that he actually has a title match and that he's not just lying about it. Everything is bigger in Texas, Liz is reminding us, and I have no reason to doubt. The one thing I can say about Texas is I've met a lot of people from Texas. They all love Texas. They super love Texas. Everything about Texas. Only thing is, I never met any of them in Texas. So draw your own conclusions about that. Yeah. Any thoughts on this, dude? Did we believe Zicky?
Brendan, how pissed would you be to have to deliver a pizza of that size?
Only if I didn't get tipped.
Coming through, guys. I've got a giant pizza for somebody. Who needs it?
Right.
Do you think Zicky tipped the driver?
No.
No? You don't think he asked Brian for like some tip money?
I'm sure that was a carry out for Zicky. I don't think he.
Yeah.
Did he go in full gear? Did Zicky go in full gear to pick up his pizza at the pizza delivery place?
I don't know if you can classify what Zicky wears his gear. I think that's just his normal clothes all the time, right?
Man, he's growing on me, Vet. I think I'm joining the bandwagon with Brandon here on the Zicky Dice train.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I've been saying. I said since day one that he showed up, I'm like, why is Zicky Dice outlandish Zicky Dice? Why is this the guy that has to be quiet and not say anything? What are they doing? And it's only taken them like 3 sets of tapings to listen to me, but eventually, they're getting around to it. So now all you're seeing is what we've already known all along. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they shouldn't need us to tell them how to use Zicky Dice. I assumed that by them bringing him in that they already knew what he was going to do, and they bring him in to do that. So, anyways.
Well, Vet, in my head, in Colin's made up, if I was Scott D'Amore, I would have, and I know this is blasphemy because Moose is our patron saint of the Impact Attack, but I would have totally put Zicky Dice over here some way, somehow, and just to have Zicky rubbing it into like Brian Myers' face and VSK about how he won the title for like Moose just to like beat the shit out of him the next week and like take it back, like just some fluke. Just a little 5-minute fluke thing where he's just like, yeah, I did it. You didn't think I could do it. And him just flaunting it and just being hilarious with it. And that's just,
I understand your sentiment, but fucking absolutely not.
I know.
Because not only is that the worst idea ever for this particular couple of guys, you can't have another guy go over on Moose. You just can't do that. It'd be different if he had never lost. Then we could have a conversation. But no, you can't have another fat loser go over on Moose. And 2, Zicky got over exactly the way he needed to by getting beat like this. This is exactly how this had to happen, which we'll get to. Sorry to spoil the fact that it is actually Zicky Dice that gets a title match.
But he spoiled it here anyways.
Yeah, well, you're right. But next is this new guy, Speedball Mike Bailey versus Jake something. Okay, and the new rotating revolving door commentary partner is Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Join Tom there. I will admit that until Tom pointed it out, I did not notice that Speedball was barefoot with kick pads on. Obviously, the kick pad covers most of his feet, but I didn't look closely enough, and sure enough, this guy is wearing Kick pads over bare feet. Don't know if I've ever seen that one before. Yeah, I don't know about this dude. He does some things, but overall, I'm just not sure what to think. I'll certainly say no thanks on that shooting star knees. It's like if Billy Kidman was doing it on purpose. That's like his finisher. I ain't taking that. Sorry, kid. Think of something else. Maybe a nice schoolboy. But anyway, Jake something's big enough to to get a nice good base for it and make it look good. I hope it didn't hurt as much as it looked like it did. And as Buckshot Kid points out, Jake something's contract is expiring soon, so maybe that explains like his recent string of usage here. But Speedball Mike Bailey, thoughts, Brandon? What do you think first, and then Colin?
I mean, I don't really see much what makes him stand out from any other indie guy who does flips and does strikes.
He's barefoot, Brandon.
Yeah.
He's barefoot with the kick pads.
Yeah. He's a martial artist.
Yeah.
With flips.
And kicks.
And a mullet, kind of. He doesn't want to fully commit to the mullet, but he's ready to at a moment's notice.
He's ready to go.
Okay. Well, Colin, what are your thoughts? How did he sound to you, Mike Bailey?
The kicks. Once Tom made it aware that he wasn't wearing shoes, he definitely pointed out the slapping of the feet, which you could definitely hear that over the stereo or whatnot in the car. But this was the match where I thought that because they put over that Ace Austin had lost to Speedball, and they put over that Madman Fulton had lost to Jake something. So I thought that this was going to be the classic WWE booking of the end of the match, Ace Austin and Madman Fulton jumping Jake's, or even just interrupting the match at one point, not even letting it get over. Because, again, why are we having a match where Jake something, clearly a guy who would crush Speedball Mike Bailey if this was a real fight, right? Like, this guy should not be getting beat in this manner, right? Like, I mean, look at Jake something and look at Mike Bailey. No offense. So I thought there was going to be some shenanigans there to have them team up to give Jake something and Mike Bailey something new, since he is kind of new here in Impact, and have Ace Austin and Madman Fulton next week versus Mike Bailey and Jake something on BTI.
Well, first off, I do want to just point out for the record that as a fight aficionado, you know that in the streets, guys that look like Mike Bailey beat up guys that look like Jake something all the time. However, here in this professional environment, you would assume that if everybody's at the same professional level and at a similar skill level, and there's some parity, that yes, he should kill Mike Bailey. Obviously, the thinking here is that, like, wow, look how tough this guy is if he can beat Jake something. That's why you would do this. I don't necessarily always agree with that. But because really, it's just at the end of the day, no one believes this is real. So it's really just a showcase for Mike Bailey's moves, and he can do those with any size guy. So you might want to put in somebody else that you don't have any plans for, which you obviously don't for Jake something, but just maybe somebody a little bit more at the size level. That's
Rich Swann.
Yeah, Mike Bailey actually looks big compared to Rich Swann, so there you go. But anyways, they got plans for Rich Swann later. Right now, the Good Brothers and Violent by Design are having that meeting you alluded to earlier. They're interrupted by another one of those times where 10 feet away, somebody is calling for help. Like, these guys would have clearly seen it out in their own sight lines from where they're standing. They would have seen him laying there the entire time, or they would have seen the attack perpetrated if it was immediate. I assume that these people had been laying on the ground, and I say these people meaning because it happens multiple times throughout the show. This is what you get for splitting up, guys. But you see these guys laying on the ground, and they've probably been laying there for a while and are just now discovered. But I would think that given the positioning and with the camera and everything, that either VBD or the Good Brothers would have just seen, was this, who was this here? This was
Rhino Man.
Yeah, it was Rhino, right? And Heath,
We
or
got
just
split
Rhino?
up, man.
Yeah, it was both of them, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
you got two
Keator.
guys laying on the ground while these other guys are just sitting here having a conference. You know what I mean? So that's another one of those things I don't like. They just did it just because they're like, fuck it, who cares? Who was it last time? It was like Juice Robinson or something was hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He was like, yeah, literally like 5 feet away, screaming, ah, 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 ah.
yeah, the cameraman runs 3 steps over and there he is, and it's the same thing here. Like it's right there. So that's a little bit annoying, but whatever. So then they go over and you see them just kind of like looking down at him, and then they all just start kicking him, which is funny. Like a little insult to injury there, and a little more injury to injury. So they're in character. It wouldn't be violent by design if they didn't kick a guy when he was down. Next is unless anybody had any notes, anything else on that? No. Okay. Matt and Chelsea with Gia. They're sitting in their little interview couch dealy. And then here comes Tasha and Savannah talking some shit. Chelsea shoves Tasha, and that's that. This is a Chelsea segment, so I'm just passing it off. What do we got?
Well, Chelsea looked amazing as always. And I mean, Tasha, I mean, she definitely cuts a decent promo. She's got a good character. She knows who she is. I could definitely see her being somebody to carry the women's division at some point, or at least holding the title at some point. And I thought it was a decent overall segment. I thought it could have went a little bit more personal, get a little bit more heat.
Fair enough. How'd this sound, Colin?
So I want to bring this to your guys' attention. I want to see if you guys notice this as well. I'm going to play part of the clip where it is Gia Miller and Matt Cardona and Chelsea talking. And you guys tell me if you can hear commotion and people laughing and giggling and stuff going on in the background while they're shooting this scene, because that's what it sounded like to me as I was listening to this. It felt like the Rhino stuff that they were doing with VBD was being shot at the same time that they were doing this Chelsea Green segment here with these guys, because I feel like you could hear it in the background. Let me see if I can share this. We'll play a few seconds, and you guys, you tell me, okay? Oh, wrong one. Stop sharing. This one.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
I realized how rare an opportunity at the Impact World title is. And I don't know when I'm going to get another one. But I lost. And that's on me, right? No excuses. The only thing I can do now is stay always ready, make my own luck, and create my own opportunities.
Okay, but, I mean, I feel like Matt always does this. That match was amazing. We all saw it, right? Matt, in my opinion, should have won.
You hear
I
the
think
people talking and
in
stuff in the
everyone's
background, right?
opinion.
Sounds like banging and yelling.
So, I mean, you're always underselling yourself.
There's
but
something
also,
there, yeah.
I feel like I should have.
You hear that? You hear the person laughing? Look.
I can barely hear that, but I hear something. So, not Jake something.
Well, not so. Yeah, you're definitely not hearing Jake something there, but you're hearing something there. It was loud and like. So now I'm hearing it in headphones. You hear it a lot more defined and things like that. But this is again over the car speaker. I'm listening to this. You can come on, Impact. First and foremost, you're trying to be. Do you need episode 72 of The Most Professional needs to be how to shoot vignettes and not have background noise going on in the background as Zicky Dice will shoot his redemption promo after losing. Well, I don't say he'll lose to Moose, but after facing Moose later on in the main event, and then you just don't have noise in the background. Don't have people.
Well, wait a minute. Wait 1 second. Is this not supposed to be somebody getting jacked by the Ring of Honor crew?
Could be.
Is it not like
That's
a
what I thought it
breadcrumb?
was. I thought they were going to come up, like, interrupt the interview, but it wasn't the Ring of Honor crew that came and interrupted the interview. It was Tasha Steelz, which Tasha cut a pretty fun promo, and I saw this video where I saw them kind of throwing the beef back and forth between each other. I like this segment. I've got to agree with Brandon. I enjoyed kind of the back and forth between Tasha and Chelsea here. Give me a little hype for that little rematch that we're going to have between these two women.
Well, all right. Well, in any case, we've got a match with another two women right here. This is another Masha Slamovich match. This time she's taking on Vert Vixen, who's on loan from AEW Dark. Vert Vixen FBI? What? No, Vert Vixen on loan from AEW Dark. This match was more violence. The only thing I would say is I like Masha's what's the word I would use? I like her intensity. She doesn't look like a female wrestler. But I would only suggest she's got a lot of face jewelry, and you know how I'm not a fan of that. I believe you should definitely be taking that out before matches. And I'd been saying that for however long that you guys have heard me saying it. And not that long ago, Solo Sikoa was in a match on NXT, and I noticed he was like there was a little bit of blood in this match on his opponent. And then I noticed that his ear, where he had like a couple of earrings or whatever, was bleeding and there were no earrings in it. So to get your earrings ripped out in a match for what? Just think about taking them out. You can put them right back in. You're only going to be out there a few minutes. Just take the fucking shit out. So yeah, that's my only note for Masha so far. But then...
Oh, and also sorry.
No, I was going to say, and before I move on, what did you guys, your evaluation of this sort of like little Masha get over? Any other thoughts?
I wanted to add to what you said too, like also in the psychology of a match, why would opponent not take advantage of that?
Yeah. Especially if, like, especially a heel. Like, I could understand if Vert Vixen's in the spot to just get squashed or whatever, that's not really your place to do it. But if you're a heel and your babyface is wearing jewelry, you better be grabbing at it. I guarantee you, if you come in wearing a shower curtain in your face, I'm going to be grabbing at it the whole time. Doesn't mean I'm going to try to rip it out for a shoot, but I have to make it look at least like I'm trying to do it. And then I'll be calling the spot, you know what I mean? Like, get me off you, in the ring. Like, don't let me do it, but I'm going to do it.
Orton and Jeff Hardy working.
I was thinking that exact same thing. Orton and Jeff Hardy with the screwdriver through the ear hole. Right.
And of course, that's the phoniest thing you could do if you had a guy with face jewelry, right? Is just twist it. Like, that doesn't even hurt, does it? Anyway, whatever. So Josh Alexander passes Masha on the ramp, and they give each other a look of approval. And he comes in the ring. He says he's the uncrowned champion until Moose beats him. Well, Moose did beat you for the championship, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Sorry, Josh. Don't talk about the Savior that way. Anyway, so we get a big surprise interruption here, guys. Big surprise. Who is it? Who is it, Colin? You heard this on the car speaker. Who is it?
I did.
That guy.
Soda Thompson.
Soda Thompson. It would have been an upgrade. Who was it? Brandon? Who made his big return here?
Russ Haas.
Oh, wait a minute. Rest in peace. That's cruel.
I'm sorry. No, Charlie Haas.
He's never been here. He's not making a return. Vet.
I mean, his return back to anybody watching wrestling with him on it is what I meant.
Apparently,
not
he
Impact.
Got injured during the tapings too. So,
and no doubt here to find those tapes on his ex-wife Jackie Gator that Jarrett had all those years ago.
Ha ha. So yeah, I'm gonna just say this because I don't really care. He looks fucking awful. Like, when you're in a 7-Eleven parking lot and going back to your car and some guy comes up to you and he's like, "Hey man, do you have $2 for gas? I just need to get home, man. I'm just trying to get home." That's what the fuck Charlie Haas looks like.
Timothy Thatcher looks better than this guy.
Yeah, Timothy Thatcher looks like he looks on purpose. I think Charlie Haas thinks he looks cool, but he doesn't. He looks like a meth addict. And it's kind of sad. It would be sad if I didn't already have a preconceived notion of what the guy's like. Unless everything I've ever heard about him has been just bitter people making stuff up. Not a huge fan of the guy. So it kind of looks like life has dealt him the hand he deserves here. And if that injury is a shoot, maybe that's part of it. But yeah, he does not look healthy here. He also does not look like he's not on drugs. Just from the way he's like moving around in the ring, like fidgety almost, I would say. So yep. So we're gonna get a thing between him and Josh Alexander. So that's what makes me think, like, only hearing that he was injured at the tapings makes me believe it could be a work, simply because Josh Alexander's doing a thing right now where it seems like he's hurting people on his way to Moose. Like he's gonna be brutal toward them, and he might make an example out of Charlie Haas. I don't know. I didn't read anything about the actual injury, so I don't know if it's a work or a shoot, really. Anybody else, like Buckshot Kid, he probably knows.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening and how they work around it too. If it's not supposed to have been part of the show. If it's heavily focused on during the show, we can guess it might be a work if we can't tell outright, or if it's not like one of those Ray Phoenix things. Suffered a concussion. Yeah, that's not sexy enough. They probably wouldn't do an angle out of that. So, yeah, well, you know, when you don't get better at something by not doing it, as Chael Sonnen always says. So, if he got his bell rung, oh well, unfortunate. I'm sure that, again, that's a little retribution for all the bells that he's rung, taking liberties on people in the ring. Any thoughts on this? The big return of the great Charlie Haas here.
I like that Alexander pointed out that, like, okay, like, enough with the obstacles. I want to get my title shot now, please.
Yeah.
Tired of playing these games. God damn it,
Yeah.
Scott. Don't make me play any more games. I was lapsed during the Charlie Haas era as the greatest tag team with Shelton Benjamin. So this is all new to me.
Well, previous to this era of wrestling, that was the previous worst era of all time in wrestling, was when he was wrestling. Not just because of him, but
Ruthless.
that
Aggression.
that time that I was involved in the wrestling business was the worst time in the wrestling business, because
Maybe
you had
was that your fault, Vet?
no,
What
it was
What was it that we blamed on you that one time? Are we blaming the ruthless aggression era on you as well?
No, the ruthless aggression era is what caused me to get involved. And then, because I was like, this is terrible. Imagine watching wrestling in 2003 and thinking it was so bad that you had to get off the couch and do something about it. And now look at today. You know what I mean?
Now.
Yeah.
Everybody's
so,
wondering if Cody Rhodes is going back to the WWE. Oh my gosh. He's not under contract anymore, guys.
Get that Phantom of the Opera face protector ready, Cody.
Stardust, here we go.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it was the worst time ever, and it's largely because of there were a lot of guys. All the backstabbing and pettiness and cutthroat ruthlessness of wrestling was at its height, and the talent was at an all-time low. So you had a bunch of people that sucked being bitter and backstabbing each other. That was the state of wrestling in the late 2000s. Now it's sort of turned around where everybody kind of gets along better backstage. So because of that, the WWE is just punishing everybody because they're not entertaining them with the backstabbing and ruthlessness. They're not entertaining the front office anymore with cutting each other's throats. So now the front office is taking upon themselves to just cut everybody else's throats and their jobs. So that's where we're at in wrestling now.
Nick Khan's the only one in there cutting throats, bro. He's in there slicing and dicing.
Well, no, it's not just, I mean, there's that, but then you got the other guys that are going to stick around, and they're all being made to look like clowns and marginalized. So now, guys like Roman Reigns is on SmackDown with nobody to fight. You know what I mean?
The forbidden doors open. Moose can come over. Mickey James is in the Royal Rumble.
Let's see it.
Like,
Let's see what they do. Like, I'm honestly intrigued. What does this really mean? So, but anyways,
Taurus.
let's say Black Taurus. And Black Taurus is in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's gonna be great. You know who else is great here is, speaking of Mickie James, she's warning Rok-C about Deonna and how dangerous Deonna can be and how she'll stop at nothing to get what she wants. And Rok-C seems like she takes this advice to heart. We'll see if it ends up mattering. Now, the Savior, will he actually show up for his match with Zicky Dice? Yes, he does. Moose makes his entrance. He's not dressed to compete. Yeah, Johnny Swinger in the Rumble, says Buckshot Kid. I'll believe it when I see it.
In the women's Royal Rumble.
In the women's,
okay.
Perfect. Let's see.
I can see him stalking the women's Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Right. He just stays around. He stays on the outside of the ring, just walking around. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but you never know. Anything can happen in the WWE except something good. The match, Moose versus Zicky Dice, is official, and man, this is a instant classic. It goes the full length of the rest of the show, and they go off the air with these guys still battling it out, and we don't know who won to this very day. Just kidding. It's over in 20 seconds.
Oh, you mean they're not continuing this match on BTI next week?
They didn't even continue this match in its own segment. It was over in the blink of an eye.
I have to agree with Buckshot Kid here.
Yes, Buckshot Kid says, like what I said, Zicky would have won if Myers and VSK didn't take a slice of his pizza. That was just the amount of carbs that he needed. So, yeah. After this, Moose hits one move and does a foot on the standing foot pin, as Ben Hameen would call it. And then Morrissey comes out and does a little scuffle with Moose, who escapes, and he drives away, and Morrissey chases him out of the parking lot as he drives away. So Moose does not get paid by the hour. He fulfilled his contractual obligations, and he's not going to stick around with these losers anymore. He's out of here. And that's the end of Moose, sadly, for the evening. We already discussed this a little bit in the sense that this was the right thing for Zicky Dice to get over, which he did, even in defeat. This shows you how you can get over. And even though, Colin, you laid out the idea of him somehow winning this match and holding it over the other two guys, they're not even worthy of that kind of attention, quite frankly. Myers and VSK, like, who gives a shit about them? So that's what it would really be about. It would just be leading to some angle between those three guys, and that's not a main event angle, so better to not do it. But they can still get a lot of mileage out of this, of them making fun of Zicky and him sticking it to them in other ways going on in the future. So we'll see if they do that. Now, how did you guys like this as it was? Colin, what did you think of this as it was? You probably only listened to it.
No, I watched this. I watched the.
You got to pull over if Moose is on the screen.
Well,
right?
no, I made it home, and then I kind of caught the last half of the show just to finish.
But you would have
watching.
pulled over if.
Yeah, I would have pulled over for Moose. Pulled out for Moose. I mean, pulled over for Moose.
We do break for Moose.
Yes, we do break for Moose. We stop at green lights for Moose as well. So Zicky Dice, let's just go back to Zicky Dice. He gets killed. Then as Moose is about to get the big boot, Zicky Dice takes the big boot here. Now Vet, if you are the head booker of Impact, as we've seen here, why didn't you book Morrissey to continue to just rage and attack VSK when VSK came in to check on Zicky Dice? You think that I know his ire is in Moose and he chased Moose out of the building, but you think like this man is in this rage that he would just like fuck you too, VSK, and just pick him up and just beat the shit out of him before going and like chasing after Moose. That's what I thought was going to happen.
I guess it's like you said, because he only booted Zicky Dice because he was on the way to Moose. So it kind of was just like getting him out of the way. He was singularly focused on Moose, actually, like that. Because the other stuff, like what you're saying, what you expect to happen, that's phony pro wrestling. That's why you expect it.
This time he didn't come out and do his hand. He wasn't like going after Moose, like.
Right. I just think that the evolution of pro wrestling as we know it is not guys doing more flips. It's the evolution needs to be try to like we need to go back to realism a little bit. Just think about more like what would you really do? And yeah, you can take some creative liberties along the way, you know, and do things that aren't necessarily possible or only possible in wrestling. But I think finding creative ways to get the same results that we all want to see or that we expect, finding new creative ways to get to that. That's how wrestling's going to evolve and change. And that's the only chance of it getting more popular. There's a lot of talk. Everybody's a genius and everybody has all the answers. I'll get to that comment in a moment. Everybody has all the answers when it comes to what wrestling companies should do and who they should push and all that. We're just all experts, right? Like we all know everything. But the one thing that you can look at is over the past 20 years of wrestling declining in popularity and concurrently the rise of popularity has been in what genre of television? Reality. There's so much reality shows out there. Now, we all know reality shows are phony too, but for the marks out there that like that stuff, they think it's real. Like they think those people are really like that. They don't even consider that those situations are produced and staged and stuff like that. But even the stuff that's not that produced and staged, whatever it is, whether it's a show about house flipping or, you know, a building aquariums or whatever the fuck people like to watch that's just so incredibly boring to me, but they like it because they think it's real. They equate that in their mind to real. Or Liz likes a lot of true crime for some reason, like a lot of women do. I don't know what they like about it, but you know, those true crime shows are popular. So like you're talking about realistic stuff. Look at sports, UFC up in popularity compared to 20 years ago. NFL up in popularity compared to 20 years ago. It's like things that people perceive to be real is on the upswing in popularity, and wrestling gets phonier and phonier and phonier, and it becomes less and less popular, and people think that the answer is more phoniness. I can't tell you how many marks on Twitter I see every day that I scroll through and are saying, wrestling needs to be about characters and stories. That's what it needs to be about. Nobody cares about matches. Okay, that's true to an extent, but
quit trying. You're reading my Twitter timeline there,
but guys, at some point the matches have to matter, because if you want stories and characters and that's all you want, you need to watch other stuff besides wrestling, because they are the worst at it. They are the worst at stories and characters. If you want stories and characters, watch anything. Watch those hour-long dramas. Watch NCIS. Watch anime. Watch anything but wrestling. Don't watch wrestling for stories and characters. They don't even know who their characters are, and their stories are the same old two stories that they recycle over and over again, like I've been saying. So, anyways. Now,
MLW Azteca Underground is going to save the storyline and character genre of wrestling.
Yep, because you know Lucha Underground was such a huge mainstream hit. So Buckshot Kid said, who would think that the vet would like a guy like Zicky? Well, because Zicky is a pro wrestling character. Everything he does makes sense in the context of pro wrestling. He just came on NWA, which is a pro wrestling show, an old school throwback. He looks like one of those guys that would just look like that for no reason, even if he didn't get a gimmick. Like a guy would just come out looking like Zicky Dice just to do a job, and he just have some regular name. And you know what I mean? Like that was what wrestling was at a certain extent back then. He's now taking that sort of character jobber and making that a real character. So I haven't seen him do anything to offend me in a wrestling ring. He's kind of making fun of old school wrestling, but in a more realistic way than something like, say, Throwback Throwdown 2, which is like they're making fun of it in a way that wrestling never was. You know what I mean? It's their idea of what 80s wrestling was like and not what 80s wrestling was really like. So that's why Zicky's over with me. He's asking for permission to post a link to Zicky Dice's Twitch channel.
I told him, yeah.
I'm sure we're fine. You know what I mean? Like, we know that Buckshot Kid's not going to post one of those weird
it's Rickroll
fishing links or porn or whatever.
It's Rickroll.
So yeah, anything else about Zicky and Moose?
No, nothing else.
Did
All
what
right.
it needed to do.
Right. Raj Singh comes out and cuts a promo. Now, you want to talk about...
This wasn't Veer. I thought
this
Veer
was-
just wound
this-
up on the wrong show.
Nope, this was not Veer.
shit.
This was a much smaller man.
Okay.
But not a small man, I wouldn't say. Just smaller than Veer. No, this is Raj Singh. And he's doing a promo. Now, if you had any doubt about, maybe you can take my comments about Impact using me as a head booker as tongue-in-cheek, but when he comes out here cutting a promo about infidels and slapping people, I mean, what more do I have to say, really? It's all there for you. And this time Scott D'Amore's on commentary, so even more wearing of headsets here for Scott D'Amore, out of character. He says there's no update on D'Lo, which is weird because let's be honest, guys. Like, if this was a match, what happened to D'Lo, he would have kicked out of it. So I don't really see what the big deal is. He should have just walked back out there like halfway through the show, selling his stomach or something.
Done the Mick Foley where they stretcher him out, and then oh my God, he's back. He's back out here, guys.
Except instead of running and climbing a cage, he just runs and then sits down at the
Sits
table.
down and puts the headset on.
Yeah. So Jonah is the opponent here for Raj Singh, and this is not an Iron Man match like Zicky and Moose. It's pretty short also. I just want you to know that Jonah's Tsunami is also brought to you by the King's Daughter. Coming soon to probably a Walmart bin near you. Any thoughts on Raj Singh, Scott D'Amore on commentary, Jonah? Anybody?
I kind of
Wicked
blanked on
harmless.
this one.
Quick and harmless. Colin, you started to say something?
I blanked on this one. Like this one just went. Like this was I think I was playing it while I was coming in the house or transitioning into coming into here. Because I don't remember Scott D'Amore being on commentary. Maybe it's just because I heard Tom the whole entire time. And then the Raj promo.
It didn't last too long either, so he didn't even have time to say a lot of stuff.
Can't say I blame you. Tom's pretty. He's got that way he can just kind of pull you in and entrance you.
No, right?
Yeah,
no,
and by entrance, you mean tune. You automatically tune him out.
I tuned everybody else out except for Tom. That's all I heard.
Wow, it's Tom time, huh?
Tom time.
Okay.
It's
Tom
time. Tommy Styles. That's why.
My
I was waiting for him to hit an oh my God. Tom was on the most recent episode of Talking Shop.
Did he do a character?
No, he was there. Brian Myers was there. They must shoot these shortly after these
That'd have
TNA
been the most
shoots.
boring talking shop that ever.
But it was neat to kind of see Tom behind the curtains, like trying to be normal person Tom, but he's still got like the I'm Tom Phillips radio voice, and he's like hanging out with the boys. Like,
I bet you he talks like that for a shoot, just all the time.
no, that's what I'm saying. I think that is his real voice, Vet. Like
Yeah.
I think, oh, I'm Tom Phillips. Like he's got that voice, like the homeless guy with the golden voice.
All right. Well, moving on. Influence was interrupted by Decay.
Oh no.
They didn't teleport in; they just walked up. So again, perhaps a little influence from Impact Attack.
Maybe.
But we'll see if they teleport later. That's the thing. And this was interrupted by somebody calling for help on the other side of the door, because Eddie was laid out right on the other side of the door of this interview. So this would have been a thing where if they had the interview from earlier with Matt and Chelsea here, and then we heard those noises, and then we come back here later, and then that's when somebody finally finds Eddie, that would have worked really good. But to your point, Colin, it might have just been an accident that they left in, because as nobody at Impact is a Hameen Media Group Producer of the Year winner or candidate, they would not have removed that audio from these taped sessions here. They wouldn't have even known how. But
I got breaking news. I don't have a breaking news button, but I do have this. That's the breaking news there. Kenny the Kendo Stick is okay. It just came through. I paid my $5 on Fightful Select. Sean Ross Sapp just told me that Kenny the Kendo Stick is he's gonna be okay. Eddie Edwards not so much. Eddie Edwards not so much. That was
That's all
the
that matters.
breaking news moment here on your Impact Attack.
Well, if I really was the head booker of Impact, Kenny would be in Eddie Edwards when they found him. So take that for
wait.
however you want it.
Did you buy bulk lube from Big Ray's Dildo Emporium so that you could get it in there easily, or did you not buy the lube just to save money?
Well, it's a kendo stick, so what do you think? What do you think I would do?
I think you bought the lube. We're just gonna go with that. Kayfabe. Ray needs the money. Help Ray out. Big Ray's Dildo Emporium.
Wrong. So anyway, yeah, this was it just really nothing noteworthy. It was, we got the influence and decay on here, which are fine, but they didn't. This was really just about Fat Eddie. So kind of.
And the guy calling for help sounded like he couldn't care less. Like, hey, get help. Hey, help.
Yeah, that's the worst part about these like finding guys. Not only do you have the guys sounding relatively disinterested, and you've also got the whole, it just happened 5 feet to the left of you, kind of thing happening. Labrad has a pertinent question. Are we sure Kenny and Alicia are not the same person? I have seen them in the same place at the same time, so that's the only reason I know that they're not the same person. But other than that, I would have to agree with you. We don't know. We wouldn't know. But she's got her own Kendra, so we've seen all four of them in the same place at the same time. They can be accounted for.
I don't know if that was kind of Wonder Twins thing, where she's like, Wonder Twin powers, form of kendo stick. And then she just turns into a kendo stick.
Right. Well, maybe so. And that wouldn't be off brand for Impact for somebody to have the Wonder Twin powers.
Her and Eddie touch fingers. Eddie turns into a Philly cheesesteak.
Yep.
Form of a Philly cheesesteak.
And then he eats himself. All right. So next.
Somehow he's still fat.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Well, he got fatter. He ate himself and got fatter. Gresham is with Gia. Okay, doing a little interview about is he a part of this kind of thing? Is where Burt Macklin comes in. He's grilling Jonathan Gresham, and he actually makes I like how they did this, where even though he's a heel, he's making a point, in Impact's favor. Like, if you talk about, Ring of Honor and your love for the company, can you really say that you're separate from these guys? Like, he's planting the seed of doubt that they're not all working together and they're not splintered in among Ring of Honor. So I did like that. And but Jonathan Gresham didn't like it. And you know what happens when you make a wrestler mad. He challenges you to a match next week. At least it wasn't a match tonight. Even though they had the graphics suspiciously quickly ready, as they always do, for this match happening next week, at least Jonathan Gresham didn't say, we could do this right now. And then that's the new main event.
Well, or it would have been like, all right, you have to fight Jordan Grace tonight for a chance to fight me.
Yeah.
That's our new main event.
For the Digital Media Championship.
Burt Macklin, Digital Media Champion. That has a much better ring to it than X Division Champion.
Doesn't it? Well, anyway. So to continue with the Ring of Honor storyline, Ian Riccaboni joins the desk because we are now ready for the main event. It is Deanna putting her... Sorry, Colin wants me to pause so that he can get his Deanna music, his Virtuosa music.
No, that's not it. Do you think D'Lo is being written off the show as commentator? This is like the way to write D'Lo off. D'Lo's like, guys, I want to go out like this, right? They're going to write D'Lo off, and in comes Ian, because they seem to have pretty good chemistry on the call. We have Ian as kind of the color guy, and Tom is your play-by-play guy, right? Would this
Well,
not
no,
be?
You have 2 play-by-play guys, but
Yeah,
continue.
but I think Ian could fill in as the color guy there. Why not? He played well tonight,
I just
especially the
don't.
invasion angle.
It's not my preferred formula to have 2 play-by-play guys. So I don't think that's what they should do. I definitely don't think that's what they should do. I don't know if that's what they're going to do. Because look, in the scenario you're laying out, the entire Ring of Honor crew would be the heels of the scenario, right? Like the heel company coming into the babyface company. Whoever's the company getting invaded is the babyfaces automatically. And guys like Ian Riccaboni just don't have heel. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't be a heel, but like, then again, you're talking about phony pro wrestling again. Like, oh yeah, you're all heels now. You're all best friends in Ring of Honor and you're all heels. It just, I don't know, but we'll see. They might try something like that. I don't really see it though. I think they're just, as long as they're going to have Ring of Honor talent competing in Ring of Honor sanctioned matches for Ring of Honor titles, they're going to bring in the Ring of Honor guys like Ian Riccaboni so he can help call the match and provide the backstory for the people that, you know, like me, who have not seen Rok-C. Even though I've followed Ring of Honor up to a point, she's so new in Ring of Honor that I didn't even see her since I've been falling off of watching Ring of Honor. So the past few months, he needs to fill me in on some of the information, which he did. Like, for example, the fact that she was trained by Booker T's school, Reality of Wrestling. So that explains a lot of what I'm about to say. So yeah, I just think they're just adding the Ring of Honor flavor in a more realistic way of like, okay, you're going to compete on the show, so we'll have a little representation for you here, which is cool. So it's belt versus belt in this match. The AAA Reina de Reinas title, and sorry about the pronunciation on that. And then Ring of Honor Championship. I was trying to think what belt was it, even though I just spent a bunch of time putting Ring of Honor over as being here as a guest company. All right. I'll just say this, guys. The Prodigy nickname that Roxy has is extremely apt. She is good. What a fucking match this was. This is one of the best matches I've seen since one of the best non-Moose matches I've seen since no, it's better than a lot of Moose matches, sorry to say. Not Moose's fault, but just the matches he's had with the people he's had them with.
I should ban you right now.
Don't ban me.
How dare you?
I'm blaming Moose's opponents.
Okay.
Colin?
Okay. I'll take my finger off the button.
Thank you.
But Vet, just let me look. Just don't.
No, you need to do that for yourself because you're the one that had your finger on the button.
Don't let it happen again, Vet. Okay, calm down. It's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they did. Stop it. They did everything right in this match. Both the women, like this is a women's
really
wrestling match. It's better. It's just a good match. I'm not even qualifying it just that they're women, but I'm just saying that we see, for whatever reason, no sexism involved here, just for whatever reason, we don't see a lot of women's matches up to the caliber of this. Masha can bring that intensity, but we really haven't seen her in a long competitive match to see what she can really do yet here in Impact. I mean, the only other time I've seen her, I wasn't that impressed, but I like Masha in small doses. I don't think Roxy's facials were bad. Everybody slaps their legs, so I'm giving her a pass on that. But it's those little things that you see, like that you could only learn those fundamentals from, like a Booker T's, you know what I mean? His kind of training, because he's not going to let people just go out there and do whatever move they want. They've got to get the basics over, and you can really see that just things fans wouldn't see. The fans wouldn't see this, but because they see so much wrestling, they're probably desensitized. But it stands out to me, like the fact of how whenever she's like, for example, when Deonna feeds in for an arm drag, right? Rok-C comes in feeding back to the middle of the ring. so that the bump can take place in the middle where it should. The middle's where a lot of the action, if not all the action, should happen, if it's not specifically designed to be something in the corner or on the ropes or whatever. But like if it's just taking bumps, like bumping and feeding or doing a shine spot or something like that, that should be front and center for everybody to see right in the middle of the ring. So a lot of people, they're out of position with their footwork. They'll be too close to one side of the ring or whatever, or their timing will be off and they won't make it back. Roxy was right there for everything, feeding back for Deonna. And of course, Deonna's a pro. We don't have to say anything about Deonna, right? That she wasn't the question mark in this match. So for somebody as young as she is and been in the business a short amount of time as she is, Roxy's very impressive. Yeah, she can work on some stuff. But she's way ahead of where she should be at. And other things too, like that I noticed, like where the submission attempts, she's not just sitting there like waving her arms like a bug that got flipped on her back. She's like trying to
break the hold.
Yeah, she's trying to fight off. She's trying to or if you notice, like when she's when Deonna's coming at her when she's in the corner, and instead of just sitting there in the corner trying to remember her spot, Roxy's like kicking at her leg. Now, the leg kick isn't going to do anything. She's just doing that to show that she's not just sitting there like an idiot waiting to get beat up. She's just showing that she has some life to her. And you'd be surprised how many people do not do that. Again, especially coincidentally, women. So I was really impressed with everything I've seen here, and I want to see a lot more. What do you guys have to add to this?
Well, before Brandon goes, because I'm sure he's got some great notes. I did enjoy Canada, or actually Buckshot Kid's not happy about her facials, but I have to agree with you, Vet. I did notice when Deonna would reverse her, she would immediately go straight into selling she wouldn't take a second. As soon as Deonna rolled her over and she rolled up in her face where the camera could see her face, she was screaming in pain. Her arms were back. She was doing there was no hair brushing going on to sell the face. It was all everything there live. She sold every time. Like you said, this was a good match. And I had never seen a Rok-C match before. And I knew she was trained by Booker T. I mean, you see it in I think Bianca. Either Bianca's a Booker T guy or she's a Mark Henry guy. Mark Henry gal there.
Don't recall her being in Booker T's.
Ember Moon was.
Ember Moon,
Yeah.
that's the one I'm thinking of. That's right. Ember Moon.
I think Bianca's a ground up WWE product.
I think Mark Henry's the one that discovered Bianca. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, big fan of that. All that stuff. I don't again, the facials. I mean, I don't know, bro. She's trying to get Deonna over because she has to lose. So if you want to say it's overacting, okay, but I'd rather you oversell than undersell. At the end of the day,
she'd been working the arm the whole time too, so that's where you got the selling, where she was putting her in those different arm holds and things like that.
And she also didn't do a lot of things that you see other people do, like the Seth Rollins classic, ow, my knee. Oh, let me just run up the turnbuckles and do a Phoenix Splash, ow, my knee. As long as you grab your knee, it's okay. You can do whatever you want jumping off your knee, but as long as you grab it, it's all fine. She didn't use her left arm, to do anything that she shouldn't have been able to do with it. And she even showed that she couldn't hold on to her move because it put too much strain on her left arm. So, yeah, can't put her over enough. It's one of the best women's matches I've seen. And again, it's also taking into account her age. That's the real thing. I would expect somebody that's been doing this 10 years to be where she's at right now. So imagine where she'll be in 10 years if she sticks with this. And
a lot of people thought she was going to win here, especially having Deonna lose to Mickie James in the fashion that she did, is that she would go into this match and lose to Rok-C and lose the Reina's championship.
Yeah. And just one more thing before we go to Brandon, I just would like to also point out to Buckshot Kid that I don't want to hear about realism from the guy that likes Wrestle House. Okay, I don't ever want to hear talk about realism there. So
I feel violently attacked. And Brandon, you should too. You like Wrestle House.
Well, you guys didn't complain about her selling right now, did you?
Sure,
so
yeah, no.
All right.
No, we didn't. She's no Cora Jade, according to Lab Rat.
Let's get this lady a skateboard.
Now before Brandon goes, because Brandon usually is the outfit person. We're saving it. We're loading Brandon up for we're shining Brandon up real nice for the comeback here. Episode 71, the comeback. Her gear is in inspiration of AJ Lee. I did see her where she posted something about she does the plaid gimmick because AJ Lee did the plaid gimmick. So she's a historian of women's wrestling.
You know, that iconic AJ Lee gear that everybody remembers. Fuck off. Anyway, Brandon.
So I did enjoy how they built to the comeback, how it was more of like a from the bottom up, fight from underneath build where she didn't get any moves in to start off. First she was dodging stuff, and then it was build, climb, and then you had the big comeback into the finish. I like that. One thing I noticed too is that Raywald sounds a lot like Disco Inferno on commentary, voice-wise.
Now that you say it, yes.
Very nasal.
And it looks like an apparent babyface turn for him as well, because he just ran in there not caring about anybody's safety except not his own safety. He basically threw himself in there to save Deanna and took an ass whooping for it.
Yeah, that's where there's like 5 dudes in there. Yeah, I'm gonna go in there and protect Deanna, but you already know you're gonna catch an ass. There's no way you're making it out alive on that one.
Right. Well, maybe he thought since they're all heels that they would leave him alone.
Yeah. Hey, can we just team up, guys? Look. I expected Maria to jump Deanna. I was kind of surprised there wasn't that. It was Raywalt taking the beat down and not kind of having Maria and Deanna kind of catfight there.
That makes sense, because in the positioning of the hierarchy of skills, Deanna would kill Maria Kanellis. So it wouldn't make sense for even after a match for Maria to attack her, because Deanna would fuck her up. She's not really a wrestler. She's more the manager character, right? So you wouldn't want Bobby Heenan to go over on the Ultimate Warrior after he beats Rick Rude, right? So that's why they didn't do that. But she also just powdered out real quick once the Drama King got his beat down. She's like, fuck this, I'm out of here. And that's a good heel move too. Like, serve him up and let me make my escape, because you don't know what these guys are going to do to me. Obviously it's Impact, right? Nobody's safe. She's not safe just because of her gender. So like, they definitely would beat up a woman in Impact, no problem. So she got out of there, and that made sense. I did think of something that was like one little mistake in the match that they made real quick before we talk a little bit more about the after angle. Is, remember, ladies, this is like a rope break. Like when you touch the ropes, that's a break. There was a spot where they kicked off to continue the submission hold or whatever, and they went into like a reversal real quick after that. But technically, still, if you touch the ropes, that's a break, and the referee should break them up. Even though you couldn't do that, because that would ruin the momentum of the finish. But the way to get around that is just don't touch the ropes. That's just how you do it. You don't step out of bounds. Like Steph Curry doesn't just step out of bounds and shoot a 3-pointer. It doesn't count. You stepped out of bounds. So just that's the one little thing. And then, so yeah, like you guys we all talked about, the Ring of Honor guys make their last, run in, beat up the Drama King. Swab Matt comes out to try to fight them off. They're the only guys that didn't get jumped in the back. They get left laying. No refs this time. No 3 referees. They were chased off by 3 referees earlier, but those referees do not come back here. No security still.
More guards!
Vinny Marseglia also barefoot. And I'm Matt Taven is the worst catchphrase that has ever existed in the history of catchphrases. I just want to say
Don't
that.
be a Melvin.
I'm going to be, if that makes me a Melvin, then damn it, I'm a Melvin.
I'm proud of it.
That's right. That is just saying your name is not, that's not a catchphrase. I'm sorry.
This bot does not appreciate whatever you just said.
Now that's a catchphrase.
That's a
That's a catchphrase.
That says I'm not. That says I'm Matt Taven in bot.
I see.
I am.
That's
Chris
just as
Taven.
bad of a catchphrase. Yeah, and Lab Rat says, wrestlers, we need more wrestlers. It's like, yeah, nobody else was interested in sticking up for Impact. That's one of those things, like, whenever you see these invasion angles, people are suspiciously missing at any given time.
So
we
who
know
else-
Moose took off, but
where are
Well,
the
who else
champions?
is back there though, Vet? Who else is? So let's see, Black
Saban?
Tarus and Crazy Steve,
Chris Sabin?
Chris Sabin, Josh Alexander, Jonah. Where's Jonah? Where's Bert?
Trey.
Where's Hikuleu?
he's in New Japan Strong.
Where's Finjuice?
Oh, they're gone forever. They'll never be back.
Yeah.
Where's everyone? That's the
everybody?
thing. So when you do that, when you do the invasion angle, this is where you have to like really.
Where's Dixie?
Yeah, where's Dixie? We already did the table spot tonight with D'Lo, so we have no need of a Dixie.
How much when he comes back? Bet he comes back with aces and eights.
Right. So.
Right.
So yeah, these are the questions that we have. But overall, like, even though we still have those little realism issues here, if you notice, if you go back and look over the period of time that we've been covering this show, some of these issues have been slowly addressed. And more even to the point of all of this that we didn't really talk about. The show, starting with Hard to Kill and with these subsequent tapings, like, has felt more dynamic and different. It felt very stale before. Even though there would be like the Impact Zone, or then they'd go to Sam's Town or whatever, even though those are different locations, they felt very stale, and it felt very, processed and definitely taped and phony. This had a more of a live feeling, even though it was taped. It just, something about the production, more camera angles, like switching, back and forth to different angles, right, Brandon?
Yep. Also felt like a little bit of Crash TV into it too, where it was like on to the next segment, or is this segment flowed into the next one, flowed into the next one, flowed to the next
Have
one?
good flow to it.
Yeah, so that's one of the keys for your wrestling TV. You have to not spend too much time on any one thing, and not just have like long matches or whatever. You got to get short, medium maybe, and then short, medium. That's kind of what you want to do. You want the long matches that get paid attention to. That's what your pay-per-view is. You're selling the fights. You're selling the fight card, but you have to get people interested, and you can't keep them interested if you have anything go too long. That way, if it's bad, it's not bad for long. And if it's good, it leaves you wanting more. So there's no drawback to keeping things short and rapid fire.
Yeah, maybe
as long as they make sense.
Yep, and maybe like one or two pay-per-view quality matches on the show that we'd be like, hey, this is what you're going to get more of when you order the pay-per-view.
Right. And those can be main events. And see, the pay-per-views, to avoid the pay-per-views being super long and 3 hours and 3 hours plus, you can lead angles to finish on the go-home show that won't make the pay-per-view. So you can have a match blow off on the last Impact or the last two Impacts because not everything needs to be on the pay-per-view. So, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have angles just for TV that pay off on TV, and then other angles that pay off in a big match. So recognizing who your players are and which ones of those you want to do, that's a thing that every wrestling company can work on, not just Impact. But what I see is Impact taking steps, and same way AEW's taking steps. They both have a long way to go, but at least if you're walking in the right direction, they'll get there eventually, hopefully. So I'm glad to see that. Now, the next thing I would say they need to get rid of is the weird accent lighting that they've had. I've been complaining about it since day one. It's really noticeable, especially in the thing with Matt and Chelsea. They had it looked like these little spotlights that were shooting up like this red and yellow. It looked like a Bic lighter or whatever. Just up on the wall, just this random ugly gray wall. And they're doing it because the wall's gray and ugly and not that cool looking. So they're trying to spice it up with a little accent lighting, but the accent lighting looks shitty too. Just get rid of that and fuck it. I don't care. Put a giant King's Daughter curtain up if you have to, but don't do these weird little lighting things. They just look so that takes the realism out of it. If you're trying to go for realism where you got a guy with a handheld camera as Morrissey busts in the back door to start the show, Like then don't have the lighting in that same room be like a weird blue color that barely exists on Earth. You know, you just don't. Nobody would ever look like that.
Something else too, the way they could have shot it too is like somebody saying, "Hey, get your camera." Morrissey just came in and he's starting shit.
Right. Something, anything, but I'll settle for the color being gone. Just take the colors out. Take the weird accent lighting out. At least they finally got rid of the background music, says Buttshot Kid. Yeah, they did that a while ago, and that's all thanks to the Impact Attack. That's why I'm going after the lights next, because I know that's something they will change. And that's all I got, guys.
That's all I got. Brandon, you got anything else?
This may have, I'm pretty sure this may have been my favorite episode of Impact since I've been on the show.
Me too. Even if they changed nothing at all about their show and it was the same old stuff, but they had that match, it's still going to be my favorite episode.
That Tom Phillips making it about. I mean, oh wait, who's Tom Phillips? Tom New Name, making it a great show. I believe, because I listened to half of it and I felt like it was a good show just from the commentary, how they were putting it over. And then I watched the last half, and the last half was really good.
Just keep Matthews out of there. That's all I can say.
Vet, here, let me let's get a Vet reacts here. Let me see if I can pull this up here. This is Roman Reigns breaking character at the end of a WWE live event. How do you feel about him doing something like this?
I can't hear it.
Can't hear it. Hang on.
Is it muted?
Hang on, let me go back.
Producer of the year, everybody. Vote for...
Sorry, I didn't hit share audio. Can you hear it now?
Take two. No?
No, that's weird. Okay, I'm going to have to give up on that.
Well, it's not playing, so I can't hear it if it's not playing. Yep, not coming through.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so it's not going cross-platform for some reason.
Ugh.
But it's basically him coming out of character and telling everyone, hey, I thank you for coming out, you know, blah, 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 in the pandemic, and da-da-da-da-da, and, you know, like being sensitive Roman and being like a face and, you know, selling for the crowd. Like kind of what the Bullet Club do, or the Bucks do at the end of AEW tapings. They all come out and they do a little 15-minute, like, hanging out with the fans in the ring, right? Like,
I know they can't pick this up on the audio only, but I'm rolling my eyes really hard right now. It's fine if you come out and say that stuff if you disguise it as your heel promo. Like, he should be saying, like, you all made the right decision to come out here and acknowledge me. You know, like, you can thank them in a dickish way so that they get what you're saying, but you're not out of character.
you know, I know in this pandemic it's hard to come out here and acknowledge me, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, but you did,
for
and you should have.
me.
You should have, and you did. Yeah, and Buckshot Kid again is right that WWE's always done stuff like that after a show, and I've always disagreed with it whenever they have, unless you just have the baby faces do that. But to have Roman do it, really no point in it unless you do it like I said, where he does it in a backhanded way. So I'm totally fine with whatever message you want to send the people home with, as long as you do it in character. You know, like, just basically do it in character. I don't know if they have any baby faces left in the company that can go out and do that. It's, you know, kind of a oops all heels Crunchberries situation over in the WWE. So,
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, right. He probably wasn't there. Yeah, but even if Matt Riddle did it, he wouldn't break character. He'd be like, all you bros, you came out and you supported me and Randy.
Yeah, that's,
you know what I mean?
That's
like,
who he is.
Yeah, he would do that. So you wouldn't even have to worry about him going out of character. So he would do that. Like I said, I'm fine with it. Just do it the right way. But who gives a shit? Wrestling's phony. We all know.
We have nothing in common.
That's right, Randy. That's right.
All right.
Well, Brandon, let everybody know where they can find you at, sir.
You can find me at all the social media platforms. It's mainly on Twitch at Miss Tia the Transarchist. Looks like Saturdays are going to be our usual go-to for sure on streams. As far as what it's going to be exactly, not sure. Just depends on how the night goes.
Raid with Brandon over Twitch.tv. And Vet, where can they find you at?
Well, at this point, Opinion Haver Everywhere should be burned into everyone's brain. So go ahead and follow me wherever you like. It's a good follow. I'm not going to tweet a bunch of stuff that's going to make you mute me or anything like that. I'm pretty quiet on there, even when I'm being directly assaulted. So go right ahead. And you can definitely find me every week, besides obviously on the Impact Attack, obviously, because I have a head booking job to uphold. And with my headphones on 100% of the time. And you can also find me at the Next Level Wrestling Review, where you just never know who's going to pop in. Big Ray's trying to ambush me a bunch of times, so that's pretty entertaining. He got me with Bill Apter before, and he also got me with Big Vito on the Light the Fuse. Had Big Vito do a call-in, so check him out there and at all his stuff, Big Vito brand. Yeah, you can find me pretty much anywhere on HMG, and be sure to vote for me in all the categories whenever. Hopefully, RBV gets well soon.
Get well soon, RBV.
And he'll get the Hammy Awards voting organized so that all you guys can. But you can all go to Twitter and go to the Hammy Media Group account, which you all follow, and you can definitely just write in your votes. Write in me. Write in Colin, write in Brandon, write in Big Ray, write in whoever you think deserves a hammy right now, regardless of the category. You can just put our name and a number of how many hammies you think we should win. And that should work. So
Handies where?
Huh?
Handies where?
Yeah. Hammies.
No, not handies, Brandon. Hammies. Right. I mean, the trophies are hands. And whatever you do with your trophy once you get it, that's your own personal thing. But
yeah, the
I
hand immortalized in bronze, just like Raj Singh was talking about in his promo.
I've had the scrolling down at the bottom of the screen the whole show. I've kind of updated it throughout the show. I just recently updated it. I had everyone that you could vote for Vet for Newcomer of the Year, but I recently changed who should be Newcomer of the Year, and it's coming up. So. Make sure you write that in. French Spider-Man for Newcomer of the Year. Media Group, and send Vet. We're still gonna send Vet
with one appearance versus my 900 appearances this past year in 2021.
French Spider-Man's over.
I still think it's a neck and neck race.
One's in the chat. If you prefer French Spider-Man, two's in the chat if you prefer the Vet. And while you guys tally your votes, I'm gonna go ahead and hit you with my socials. You can find me at Colin Wysong on Twitter, at Facebook at Colin Wysong, on Instagram at Colin Wysong, and you can also find me tomorrow or today. Tomorrow if you're in Vet's time zone. If you're in tomorrow,
it's today now.
Oh, it's today now. Oh, it is. Okay, well, it is today.
Yeah.
It is Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/The A Show. We will, it'll be April going solo as Aaron is MIA, and no telling what we're going to talk about. And then catch us in February for
that's right, the ridiculously random podcast.
Ridiculously random podcast. Now, Big Ray talks about the random top 5. This is the theme song here for the random top 5. It's totally ridiculous. Totally random.
It's now the time for our top 5. It's now the time. Yeah.
See? It's pretty awesome.
It's now the time for our top 5. It's now the time. Yeah.
It's catchy. Then you fade it out. Just like that.
Strangler Steve makes one tweet, and you come out of retirement and do a whole other show, and we can't even do this show at a reasonable hour. I'm offended.
We are doing it at a reasonable hour, Vet. It's always.
It's always the middle of the afternoon somewhere on Earth.
So Vet, it looks like now that we have the votes tallied here before we get out of here, we've got Canada Spaceman with a 1, Lizbeth with a 2. So one for Vet, 1 for French Spider-Man, Wee. Lab
Another
Rat,
one for me.
Vet, all of them.
Another one for me with Buckshot because I'm the Law and Order of the show.
Because he seems. Do you like Law and Order? Now, which one do you like? The new one where they brought back Stabler.
I don't watch Law and Order. That's what old people. That's why Raw has any ratings at all, because old people fall asleep watching Law and Order, and it just stays on.
So
otherwise, Raw would have 0 people watching it.
So Labrat earlier said Vet for all of them, but apparently he is down with 1. So that's 2.
I think his finger slipped.
For French Spider-Man and 2 for Vet now.
Wait, nobody has a 2.
Nobody with a 2. So Vet narrowly wins out here to beat French Spider-Man. So everyone, I need to change the banner here.
I told you it was neck and neck, even though he had one versus 900.
Change the fucking banner again. God.
I just have to step my game up, you know. I can't let the people that chose me down. I have to uphold the greatness for the people that voted for French Spider-Man and get them on my side. Law and Order is today's versions of Matlock. Yep,
here we
100%.
go. All right, I updated it for you, Vet. Just wait for it to scroll by as we listen to some... There we go. Just for you. Instead of French Spider-Man, vote for the Vet. Vet. For newcomer of the year. Vet, do you enjoy your intro? Really? Look, Big Ray's not listening. You can be truthful and honest with us here.
I'm always honest.
I know you said that you didn't ask for it. But I know you can tell us. Tell us, Vet. Let us know.
To be honest, it's really flattering. Like, I like that he goes to that extra effort as a producer, which is why he may be worthy of some of your votes. I don't know. Colin couldn't get the YouTube clip audio to play, so I don't know if you really want to vote for him. But then again, you know, it's all subjective. So, you know,
if it wasn't me, there'd be no Impact Attack right now.
Yeah. So, anyways, to answer your question, I like the song. I like that he made it. But I'm a simple guy. I don't need a lot of flash and sizzle. I would just be fine without it. But Big Ray really likes to entertain you guys with the stuff that he does, whether it's the backgrounds that he makes that I'm sure a lot of people that, if they are listening to audio only, never even see, or when he wants to bring people on the show or have interesting topics to talk about besides wrestling. Like Ray really has a lot of fun with his creativity on the show, and I on the show I play a character that is exhausted by that, but I really do appreciate it, like, as a shoot. So even though I never would ask for a theme song for myself, Ray would insist, and he would just wear me down, and he is exhausting that way. So I just
Very.
Yeah, but it's in the best way possible. So I know he's going to listen to this anyway, regardless of whatever he's doing. Eventually he's going to listen to it. He always does. Because if I say anything even remotely about Big Ray, then he sulks at me the next time that we talk. So
You said nice things. It's okay.
I did.
He has to
and
be
I
happy.
meant them.
He's gonna, like, give you a hammy live on air. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Impact Attack for the Vet and Brandon. I am Colin. We will see you next week. Peace.